to do an electronic conversion, well, you need electronics. So these are the boards I make, and in this video we're going to show you how to stencil them and put the components on and solder them together. These are the power supply units. There's some surface mount components on that side, the rest of them are just through fuses and rectifiers. So I'm making two sets because I'm building two machines. These are solenoid drivers. So it's pretty much a little CPU there with some peripherals, comms, chips. And then the FETs will be mounted here. So there's 16 of them on each board. And you can have multiples of these on a machine if you need them, because they all connect together with a serial bus 485. These are my CPUs, well, the CPU and switch reader. So what this board does, it's got a slightly bigger CPU in there for more memory so that it can handle the game software. That's just the switch matrix, comms, chips and crystals and things. And then switch connectors on that side. This is the main controller, the master that talks to all the others. The others are all slaves. This is an LED driver, and it's got 32 channels all driven with shift registers, and they can drive my LED boards, and they can also drive lamps to a certain degree depending on how many amps they take. These little transistors here can take half an amp each, so it should be alright for incandescents, but I prefer not to use these for incandescent lamps. I've got one of them populated. This is a bare board, CPU, shift registers, transistors, and these are, well, they'll be connected like that. So this CPU, this master CPU, will control all the LEDs on both boards because it just changed that. So I need two of them for each machine. One populated like this, one without the CPU. And for the second machine, the Coca-Cola machine, I'm just going to make another set of those. For the Coca-Cola machine, these are my displays. It's a 6-digit display, as you can see. The last digit normally is just 0 on most machines, but I use the ones just to check certain things, and I use the ones to, let's say there's like a hidden auxiliary switch, then I'll score that as a 1. I don't believe in scoring millions if you can just score 100 or 1,000, because in the end everyone scores the same on that machine and the best scorer wins. It's not that I don't need to draw crowds with, oh, this machine will score 1,000,000 points. To drive these 7 segments, I've got shift registers. This will be the last generation of this type of board. In future, I'm going to use a different IC that can drive all these digits with one IC, and it'll be SPI instead of 485. But these are still driven with 485. Right, those are the boards. Let me show you how I put them together. So in order to populate a board like this, I hope it focuses, but you can see here are all the surface mount devices, and they are little bright pads that all take a little blob of solder paste, after which you come and place the component on the board there. And then you heat up the board, and the solder paste melts and it solders itself to the board. So to give you an idea of how big that is, that's the little CPU is about the size of a fingernail. But we need to, for each board I have a stencil like this. You can make them out of acetate, and they fit onto the board. And then I go and squeegee through some solder paste and onto those pads. I have the board on my little piece of glass that I use to do this. Got an angle there that I can press the board into the corner. I can use, so to do more than one board I just change the boards and press it into the corner. And then I've got the stencil taped down on a hinge. It comes down the same for all the boards. Here's my solder paste and my squeegee. Here goes.